Welcome back to the channel. My name is Shelby, aka 88 Fox, and today we're going to continue working on the 74 Ford Courier. As you can see, I have front wheel off and most of all the brake components off. What we're doing today is we're going to be working on getting the front drum brakes off. I need to get this done prior to running on my brake lines so that I can make sure that I've got everything good on here. The backstory is the brakes on this thing never worked. When I got the truck itself, the front right was seized up and I couldn't even tow the thing. So I had to in the ground take the truck apart and try to get everything out that I could. Ended up taking all the brake system out and just throwing it away anyways. Pretty similar to what we got going on here, but that's fine and dandy because what we are going to do is put these on. As you can tell, this one's pretty gross. It hasn't been cleaned up at all. This one I have cleaned up. I got new grease in it, new everything, all cleaned up. Well, I wouldn't say new everything. I'm still just using the original rotor because the rotor's fine. Just cleaning it up so I can get it all put back together. I even painted the little brake dust plate thing. So now let me show you the problem that we have. These come off of I think it's a 3rd gen Mazda B2200. So, which would be like an 86 through a 93. So disc brakes and everything, all's good. But if you look, this is where your upper ball joint goes. This is where your lower ball joint goes. This is a new lower ball joint for a 73 Courier. Unfortunately, I'll have to return those because they don't fit. And I will show you if I can do this one-handed. The ball joint goes in here like this. And if you look, it's too small. So it rides in there, and it's also the length of this non-threaded area is too large as well. So I'm going to have to use the original style ball joints. I've got some new ones coming, which would be this type, which is just fine. But if you notice, we got a little issue. So these are both the lowers. Sorry, I'm still battling a cold here. These are both the lowers. This is the one that I need to use. This is the factory style 74 Courier ball joint. So if I'm not mistaken, these two bolt holes will line up and we'll be just fine with that. These bolts obviously do not line up, so I'll have to drill these out. And then kind of the same with the top, with the top ball joint as well. The two bottom bolts line up, but this bolt, as you can see on the new one, is significantly longer. So in order to do what we got to do, I have to pull the rest of this spindle assembly off, which is going to be simple enough. Pull the rest of the spindle assembly up, take the old ball joints out, line the new ball joint up, mark my hole, and I'm going to have to drill new holes in the top and the bottom. Now the only problem with the bottom is it's sandwiched or pancaked, whatever you want to call it, so the ball joint actually slides in. So that one might be just a little bit more difficult, but I think we'll be just fine. If anything, we can always cut and re-add and do whatever we got to do. But I also think that another problem we're going to run into is on these old Couriers, the tie rods are on the back side, and on the new ones they're on the front side. So if I'm not mistaken, what I have to do is I'll have to use the passenger side on the driver's side on the passenger side, but then also flip the calipers, because if you don't flip the calipers, your bleeder screw is going to be on the bottom instead of on the top. So we're gonna find out and we will go from there. But first things first, I want to go ahead and get this entire spindle assembly and ball joints off. I don't know if I'm gonna have to torch it or not. Well, I guess we'll find out pretty quick. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just disassemble it and see where we're at. All right, so I got everything off and tried to see about mounting the ball joints, and was having a little bit of problems because the way that these ball joints work is they thread into the actual ball joint mount itself. So I had to drill those out with the size of the bolts that I wanted. So these are 5/16 and these are 3/8. So I had to drill those down. And then I was wondering how I wanted to, get where I wanted to go to be able to drill through it. So I just went ahead and mounted it on the outside, and then I'll just need to drill straight down through there, straight down through there. And then I had to notch this one just a little bit in order to get that bolt in, but it lines up nicely. So now I've just got to make my third bolt there, third hole there, and then we should be able to bolt it all up. So I'm gonna go ahead and drill those out, and then we shall see what the result looks like with the actual spindle and everything mounted. So I'll be back as soon as I get that ready. There it is. Not completely finished. I need to mount the tie rod end and so on, route the hose, the brake line hose and everything. But that's pretty much what it's gonna look like. So front disc brake for the driver's side. Still got to do the passenger side. And then I ordered new ball joints, so I got to wait for those to come in. So this won't be finished until they come in early on Wednesday. I'll finish it early on Wednesday, but it's Monday right now. But probably this week. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to continue carrying on. I'll get that passenger side knocked out so it's ready to get new ball joints in. And then we'll be able, also I ordered new tie rod ends, so should be able to adjust them. This one sits pretty far back from where it is factory, so it is going to need to be or adjusted quite a bit. But we'll see what we got to do there. It's just a sleeve. It's one of those old school sleeved tie rod ends, so nothing wild. If I got to, got to get a longer sleeve, or longer sleeve than I got to. So cool. But I'm happy that that worked out. Originally I got that hub all cleaned up and was just like, went to see about mounting it and was trying to use the original ball joints and just was not working for me. So asked online a little bit and got some pretty good answers. So yeah, there's a TDI. We got to get these front brakes knocked out, and then we were going to rerun some new brake line, which is going to be my first time doing that. And then see about reinstalling the master cylinder, which is over here, which I got to get cleaned up. And see how well that works out. If it doesn't work, then I'm going to have to go to some kind of vacuum assist brake, which is fine. There's a vacuum pump on the actual TDI motor that would work perfect for brake setup. So if I have to do that, then I have to do that, but hopefully I don't have to, because I don't want to spend the money, but you know, is what it is. So I'm going to go ahead and take that front hub assembly off, set it off to the side, and then take those ball joint, and then take the passenger side assembly completely apart and drill some holes and get them ready for the new ball joints. And then I got to clean up this hub too. So take it all apart, replace that, take it all apart, clean it all up. Yes, I'm keeping the same rotors and all that stuff. They're just fine. And then yeah, get it ready for new parts. So I'm gonna go ahead and get working on that. I will check back in once I got new parts ready, and then we will see what it looks like. We've been out here working. I got my ball joints in and went ahead and got the spindles and everything mounted. Got the brake line ran. So I'm going to be building new brake lines off of this. And take that out. That's old. Gross. Let's see. Yeah, okay. Well, I'll get that taken care of. But I'm going to put new brake lines in it and route them up. But first we need to put the master cylinder on. So this side's complete. Besides that, oh, actually, I lied. I need to get I ordered some Grand Marquis adjusting sleeves, and I got wow, I can't even think. I've been busy. Tie rod adjusting sleeves and tie rods. So those are en route. I didn't get the rear tie rod ends, but I'm gonna have to go ahead and order those and get those knocked out to finish this up. Oh, one thing I did have to do is I had to cut this a little bit so I could make some extra room for this ball joint, because it rode right up on it, and I might want to take those off one day, so I don't want to have to cut it later. So I went ahead and got that done. But that side's finished up. This side, same situation. Got everything in there. I need to get a new dust cap because this one was all beat up the way I got it. And then, yeah, we'll be good to go. So next thing I'm going to do, golly, is I'm going to clean up this original master cylinder. I might have to put some heat on it to get these to pop loose, but we'll see. I'm going to go ahead and take it all apart, clean it all up, and then clean up all that gunk in there. And then we'll go ahead and remount this master cylinder on there before we start running the lines. So that's what's coming next, and then we will be good to go. Okay, well, that was a fail. I stripped out the little screws that were in here. This, what do you call it, reservoir is garbage. The rubbers in here are way too old. They need to be replaced. So I just said screw it and ordered another one. Should be here tomorrow. But I did get some other parts in from the infamous Rock Auto. I got some tie rod adjusting sleeves. Let's see. I went ahead and ordered some for a 94 and a 95 Grand Marquis to see which ones were going to work the best. The 95 plus, so I think it goes from 95 to 03. They are way too long. They're yeah, but the 94 ones, they work great. So here's a side-by-side comparison. This is the original Courier adjusting sleeve, and this is the 94. You could potentially get away with just using the factory tie rod end sleeves, but you leave like this much thread in your tie rods, if not less than that. So yeah, it's pretty sketchy. But these, you get plenty of thread length and ability to adjust out or whatever you need to do. So I've got this one in. On the driver's side, I'm going to need to do some minor adjustments once I get it back on the ground. But there's the sleeve. It slides right on the factory tie rod ends. Let me turn this off so you can see better. And let's turn this flashlight on. So it goes right on the factory tie rod ends. Obviously, those need to be replaced. I did order new ones, but of course, I ordered the wrong one. So you can see right in here how much thread length that gives you. You'll be able to adjust it nicely on either side. So I'm just going to leave these loose for now. I'm going to put the bolts on here, but even put the bolts on kind of loose, just so they can, just until I get the new tie rod ends. Inner and outer tie rods are ordered. Man, this Pitman arm steering linkage, whatever you might call it, I have no idea where to find that. I've been looking everywhere. I can't find it on eBay. I can't find it on anything. So what might end up happening with that is I end up taking it off one day and just go into the parts store and find something that's close. So, and then when that day happens, who knows, I might cut and weld. I don't know what's going to happen. But we're not here for that. We're here for this disc brake swap and brake lines. So I've got to do this side as well. And just FYI, if you don't have a pair of wow, what are these called? Yeah, one of those. I can't even think of the name right now. Yeah, sorry, it's early. If you don't have one of those and you're trying to do tie rod sleeves on old, junky, rusty cars, just do yourself a favor and get it, because you're going to need them. And then maybe if you're lucky, you can finish the game off with some channel locks. But yeah, we'll get this other side done. That way this can be quote unquote wrapped up, and then we'll be able to get started on the brake lines. We'll get most of the brake lines ran, and then when the master cylinder gets here tomorrow, we'll install that and then actually run the brake lines to the master cylinder, which will be exciting. I'm ready to get this thing back on the ground, mainly so I can start working on that. But also, I got to figure out how to get this passenger side door open. But yeah, so before it's all said and done with, we'll have pretty much a whole new suspension under here, plus disc brakes. So, all right, I'll get back to you when we start running the brake lines. I'm gonna knock this passenger side out, put the tie rod nuts on pretty loosely, and then yeah, we'll start on the brake lines. All right. Okay, so what I wanted to do before I actually went back on camera is get started on the brake lines so that you could understand kind of what I want to do. So I went ahead and got the driver's side brake line started, as well as the passenger side. And then what I did is I bent them and have them running up underneath. What they're going to end up doing is tucking underneath this little firewall piece right here. And so they're going to come together like this, and we're going to put a T on there. I had to order the T and a couple other fittings. They'll all be in tomorrow, no big deal. And And then, as you can see, that line runs around and goes in there. So what will happen is I'll put the T in right there. I haven't made this fitting yet because I don't know if I'm going to need to cut a little bit more or not. But I'll have the two ends of the T go like this, and then the piece of the T that goes down, I'll have that loop back up and run back under this, and then it'll actually attach to the, I believe, the back side of the master cylinder, the back port of it. I'll have to double check. Then, but in between that, I'm going to have to cut and splice in a 2-pound pressure valve. Since this is now a drum brake in the rear, disc brake in the front system, you don't want to use the stock, and I'll show you. You don't want to use a stock or any kind of, well, damn, where did I put it? Of distribution block. So distribution blocks are for only for, well, I don't even know where it's at. But anyways, your distribution block that this car originally had sat right here, and what would happen is all the lines would go to it, and then it would have 2 lines that would go to the master cylinder. So that'd be from the front and the rear would go to the distribution block, and then they would go from there. So with the drum and disc brake system, you don't want to do that because you might get too much pressure up front, and then you'll end up like locking up your brakes all the time, right? We don't have ABS or anything like that, so I need to do it right. So you'll get a 2-pound pressure valve for the front, and it's just an inline valve. And then you will need a 10-pound one in the rear, and then we're also going to add a proportioning valve in there as well. So reason for the proportioning valve is I want to use it as kind of like a line lock. You can completely cut off brake pressure in the rear, and then utilize do burnouts and stuff. So if your car is capable, which hopefully this thing will be capable of doing that. But yeah, so I got to wait for those T's to finish that, and also my master cylinder, which will come in tomorrow. What I'm going to go ahead and do is the brake line that's under the car for the rear is actually still in good shape. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut where I'm going to put that pressure relief valve, and then also where I'm going to put that proportioning valve. And then when we get the master cylinder installed, I will run, as you can see, this right here is the factory brake line. I'll run following that same brake line and then go straight up to the master cylinder, which will sit right here, and then right there. I don't remember, one of these is something, but and then we'll be done with the rear, and then we'll just have to bleed the system. But yeah, I love these brake lines. They're about as flexible as you can allow them to be for hard brake lines. I got them from Amazon. I have to find the part number, but yeah, I got 3 sets of it. I think I'll only have to use what's remaining of this, or actually not even use the rest of this to get the rest of my brake lines done. So yeah, I was kind of nervous about this, but now that I've got the front on and ready, I think that the rest of it's just going to go pretty swimmingly. So yeah. All right, so unfortunately I am done for the day. I don't have any more parts to put on, but since the brake lines are on, I'm going to go ahead and put these wheels back on, and then I'll be able to see what it looks like sitting on the ground. Yeah, I think that's going to look way cleaner, especially tucked up under there, so it's going to run right along the rail. This one, I pinched it a little too short, but it's fine. It'll still tuck under there and look pretty clean like that. And then I'll just use some, I don't know, use something to hold it all down. I still will need to get some new gaskets right here, but that'll be fine. It'll be easy enough to just take the line off and put the new gasket in, and same on that side, so that there's no problems with that. But yeah, it's gonna look super clean, I think, I hope anyways. And then yeah, I'll check in with you when I get the rest of my parts in. All right, see ya. Okay, we are back, and as you can see, have the master cylinder installed, and I've got all the front brake lines ran. Right there is my 2 psi residual pressure valve going into the T, and then the T goes across to each one of the soft brake lines for either side. So now all I got to do is run my line from the front port down, and then put in the residual pressure valve and the proportioning valve into the rear brake lines. So shouldn't take too long, but I will check back when we get it installed. All right, so you can't tell by the video, but I've been working on this thing for a couple hours now. I got the rear brake line in, got it routed down underneath the frame. Let's see if I can do a quick visual real quick. Okay. Yeah, you probably won't be able to see it, but I got the proportioning valve and the residual pressure valve installed down there. I was gonna do something a little bit different with routing the proportioning valve, but I was gonna do it on the back side of the frame, somewhere closer to here, but at some point in time I think I might be chopping this, so here's what it is. And then I filled it full of fluid, pumped the brakes a few times just to see if there were any leaks, and there were plenty of leaks. So ended up actually having to cut and resplice this one right here, which goes to the passenger side brake. That one was just a poorly executed flange that I put on there, so it was, I could see it was leaking. I kept tightening it and couldn't tighten it anymore, and it was still leaking, so I just popped it off and looked at it and said, yeah, that was your problem. So it looks awesome though. I'm gonna mount it on I'm gonna get some like self-tapping mounts and kind of clean it up a little bit more so it's a little bit more hidden, but especially compared to stock, that looks awesome. And then the rear brake line, as you can see, is routed down, and it comes, this factory brake line came, let's see, factory brake line came up through here and then around and then over. I just went straight down and looped it underneath the bed that way, or the cab that way. So it's super clean, looks great, I think, anyways. Now I get to do the fun part, which is bleeding it, and it actually is fun with this air brake bleeder kit. So I'll just go ahead and go around, start with the back, the furthest from the brake line, which is going to be the passenger side rear, and then do this one, or the driver's side rear. Then I will do probably the passenger side front, and then finish off with the driver's side front. And so shouldn't be any more leaks. We'll see once we get a little more pressure on it, but those pressure reduction valves, they hold steady pressure, 2 psi for the front and then 10 psi for the rear, and there's no more leaks, so we should be good there. Just gotta bleed them now, and then we're done. So I'm gonna go ahead and knock that out, and then I'll get back with you. All right, everyone, as you can see, I've not finished bleeding all the brakes, but they will be bled. The reason I have not finished bleeding all the brakes, we just had a death in the garage. I wish you could smell what I'm smelling, but yeah, my Harbor Freight Special Central Pneumatic 26 gallon 150 psi max air compressor has bit the dust. It's been a good run. I'm actually pretty upset. It's been a damn good air compressor. It's lasted me at least 5 years or so of pretty tormenting abuse. But that's where we're going to end it. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to get another air compressor. I've been wanting one anyways. I think it's time for me to go ahead and just quit BSing and get me a good compressor. 80 gallon, 230 volt. DeWalt sounds like something I want. But, okay, let me show you real quick. So, man, I am upset right now. So there's a proportioning valve. It's not really mounted to anything right now. Again, I don't know if this is going to be its final resting spot, but I mean, it's fine where it is. We've got the rest of the brake line mounted. This is my residual pressure valve, 10 psi. Definitely required for drum brakes. And then there's the new line. I spliced into the old line. I'll end up replacing that at some time anyways, or at some point. But there's the new line, ran up, looks pretty good. So yeah, I'll say overall it's a success. A couple things I'm gonna have to do pretty soon. Obviously I'm gonna have to replace those tie rods as I showed y'all earlier in the video. And then I'm not sure yet, but I might actually have to cut the lower control arm a little bit more, mount the ball joint in a little bit further, because this thing's pretty cambered out. So yeah, I mean, you can actually see the camber as it sits right there. I don't know, it might look cool. I'm not too into cambered vehicles, but we'll see. It's going to be a lowered mini truck at some point, so yeah. And then another thing that I've dealt with while I was doing this is these old whatchamacallits, bleeder valves. They were gunked up. So I've actually got a guy that's going to give me a whole rear brake. I'm going to turn that light off. Going to give me a whole rear brake setup for my truck. All brand new drums, everything for free. All I got to do is run down to Houston, which I got to do anyways for my job. My real job, not my wannabe YouTube job. So we're going to get those bled once I get a new compressor in. And then, you know, one day we'll actually trade all that stuff out for good stuff. Good brand new stuff, and I get it for free. I'm so excited. But yeah, that's going to be the end of the video. So there's how she looks right now. Next thing that we'll be filming on is getting it on the ground, putting, tearing the interior apart, figuring out what I want to do about if I want to move the original shifter thing majigger up, or if I want to just thinking about using it as a cup holder. I don't know, but I got to get this, I got to get all the wiring and crap out of it. So and get ready to start putting together the wiring for the actual TDI itself. So maybe we can get it started at some point in the next month or so. I don't really have a lot of time to come out to the shop. Come out on Mondays and Wednesdays, and then Tuesdays and Thursdays my wife does her thing, and then Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays are usually family days, so Mondays and Wednesdays. Today's a Monday, so we'll see what happens on Wednesday. But for this video anyways, that's going to be the end of it. Yeah, if you like what I'm doing, be sure to like, subscribe, share, comment, hit the little bell thingy. That alerts you anytime I have a new video, or anytime I have a new short, or anytime I have anything happen on the YouTubes. You can follow all the other social media stuff. I don't cross post a lot of stuff. Sometimes I do, not gonna lie, but TikTok tends to be my kind of go-to platform for short videos. So check out the TikTok if you haven't, and then Instagram, Facebook, all the things. 88 Fox Garage. I'm easy to find. It's not hard to remember. 88 Fox. But yeah, that's enough for my plug. So next time, yeah, I don't know if we'll see the Courier next, or if we're gonna start working on this Prelude. I'm gonna pull the head on it and see if we got a bad head gasket or not. But yeah, this thing's a pile. But pretty much got it for free, so it is what it is. All right, enough talking. Y'all have a good one. Peace out.